Hey everybody, welcome to the first ever FtMtF Podcast with Jake and yours truly, Nikki. We're glad you're here.
Yes, we are. Welcome.
Yes, we do hope. Let me see if we make sure we're still online. Okay.
But also, all of this production and everything here is all Nikki. Okay? I showed up and hung a few drapes, but that's it. So
if it goes wrong, it's all on me.
I didn't mean that.
No problem.
I didn't mean
that
at all. I'm just saying that all of that goes to Nikki. I am. If anybody that's watching that knows me knows that I do not do the computer.
Well,
so it's not me.
Well, nonetheless, this still is a learning experience. I did it once the other day, but it's still somewhat problematic, and really due to my cheap-ass streaming and, because girls poor these days, and I'm jacking my Wi-Fi off of somebody else.
Right.
Well, so we all got to do what we got to do. It's the Bronx.
Get into what I've been doing for the last 3 months.
Oh my gosh!
I don't even have a computer. Well, I have one, but it doesn't work. Oh, there we are.
And we're back.
Okay.
Okay.
We're back, yes.
So, I felt that we should, really kind of talk about ourselves a little bit and who we are and what we do. And so, Jake, I will let you take it away. Why don't you go ahead and start? Why don't you plug yourself?
Plug one. Jake Alfieri, artist, sculptor, and freelance art handler, and all about guy who can do all kinds of different jobs. But those are my main thing is my sculpture, and then after that is my art handling, because that's what I've been doing for a while. And I really like. Well, my art is my real thing.
Where can we see? Where can we see your work?
All right, you can see my work a couple of places. You can see my work on Instagram at jalfieri NYC, artist NYC, excuse me, and that's on Instagram, and Jake Alfieri on Facebook. And there's also another, but we're going to plug that another time. I'm going to plug that another time, and you can also see it on my website, which is jalfieri.com.
Okay.
Or you can come to my studio.
You know what? You there's a mechanism, right, for people to come see you at the studio?
Absolutely. That's where you can go. You can also go to Airbnb. I'm involved in what they call experiences. All right, where I do a workshop of my plaster casting, and people can sign up and come, and I can teach them how to do that. So you can also get my studio visit there as well, or you can go to my website, get my phone number, get my email, and here you are.
Also, just in case you're wondering, the physical artwork, the pink lady faces, with the spinning carrot.
Not lady faces. They're androgynous.
Okay, androgynous, yes. But being pink, I think.
Well, the pink, yes.
Being the obvious gender marker.
Yes, absolutely. Good point.
But from our logo, that's actually Jake's sculpture, which was just finished, which is sitting downstairs, which one day soon we're going to have an unveiling, right?
Yes, we are. Whenever we get out of this situation that we're in right now, where we all have to be home and safe, which is a good idea for everybody to keep doing, by the way, then we're going to do something, right? We're going to do another...
Oh, hell, yeah.
Yeah, we're the second Nikki and I have all kinds of things in the fire that are going to be coming up. And literally, we're going to have some fire. Right?
That's right. Well, hopefully,
We're gonna have some fire. We're gonna have some music. We're gonna have everything. So,
although the time for like the really cool season, that's like right now, right? Like right now, if we could have opened up with the fire, like when it gets to be like mid-July, we're trying to like have a fire out in the middle of the night.
It's not going to be. It
might not be the same thing.
It might not be that great. But now would be perfect.
Now, so perfect.
So maybe we'll do that in one of these next segments. We could. Do the fire and do our podcast outside.
You know what? I was thinking of actually calling this the what do I call it? FtMtF Fireside Chats.
Okay, well, I like that.
Which I think also bespeaks our age.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's very few people who remember exactly what a fireside chat is.
Absolutely.
Sadly. So,
Absolutely. Oh, and our age is sort of important to what we're doing too.
I
so
think
I'm 58 years old.
Here, stall for a second, because I think
All
we're
right.
out of focus. I mean, no, keep
Okay.
talking.
Yeah, all right.
But you're right.
So I'm 58 now. Actually, in another week, May 5th is my birthday. I will be 59, and I started my transition in the early 2016. All right, that was when I originally realized that I was transgender, and I was always making a joke about that I'm a little late to the party, but I made it. All right, and it's been the most unbelievable thing for me. And
I think also being of a certain age. Actually, no, we can circle right around back to that.
right.
So,
We didn't. You didn't introduce
No,
yourself.
exactly. That's what I wanted to do.
Right. Yeah.
So, I am Nikki Jax, DJ Nikki Jax. We're in the house, in his house. I do event production, audio design, systems design, etc. I also DJ on the side because
Excellent DJ.
Well, thank you. I just because of my love for music. I have been around for a very long time in the industry, and at some point, it's the subject we got to talk about is the big dead name, right?
Yeah. We're gonna get into that because that's a big subject.
It's a tough subject, and I'm grappling with it at the moment in a big way.
Grappling in what way? In
Well, okay, so my dead name is I've got more than 29 years, maybe just a little more than 29 years invested in developing a reputation that surrounds my old name, and that old name still, it opens up a lot of doors for me, and it makes money, and it's
the name, and that's who you were.
Exactly, and I'm not proud of it. Right?
No, of course, neither of us are not
Right.
proud of it.
You got to be proud of your history. It's made us who we are. It's how we got here.
It's part of who we are, exactly.
And so I had ideas about transitioning starting a long time ago, and a few years ago is when I started to actually actively pursue it by adopting a lifestyle. And I've been pretty much living trans now for a couple of years, and really been coming out more and more. What's interesting is, and this kind of gets back to it, is I can kind of tell where you know me, where how you react, right? What you call me, what your first instinct is to call me. Which,
and that's just automatic for people.
of course,
I mean, it doesn't offend me. Does it
no,
offend you in any
not
way?
at all. It. And what I get a kick out is everyone's always trying to apologize, right?
Yes, they do that to me too, and
it's please,
don't.
you're God, I feel so bad. I feel bad when I see the other person struggling.
I have that same reaction, the same exact reaction, that I don't want people to feel bad about it, especially people that knew me for 30 years, 35 years before this.
Of course.
All right, actually even longer than that. What am I saying? It's way longer than that.
30 years.
Yeah. But so I don't know. I mean, I don't know about anybody out there, or don't worry about that.
Yes.
Don't worry about that.
I'll tell you right now, if you misgender me, you dead name me, it's okay, honey.
It's not.
Let's continue the conversation.
Right.
Wherever we're in.
Exactly.
My feeling, and the way I've also explained it to people about the dead name, was that the only responsibility for correct gender pronouns is mine. It is not. I feel it's not the other person's responsibility to have to remember.
I agree with
it.
that.
I think it's putting too much burden on them.
I agree with that. And why do we have to have all these labels to begin with? I go there. So.
In terms of
the
pansexual.
Yeah. I mean, all of it, and even
non-binary.
Even what you're saying about the pronouns or whatever. It is our response. How can everybody know?
Right.
All right. You could be looking at someone that, for whatever reason, it clicks in your head, he, she, or whatever.
Sure.
All right. And I think most people just don't know. I don't think it's done deliberately or to hurt.
No, of course not. I think because so much conversation happens subconsciously, right? You don't, it's rare that you're thinking of every word
that's coming out of
in
your
any
mouth.
conversation, right? So if and I think to put so much emphasis on that
I agree.
in conversation, like, it detracts from the actual conversation. You could be talking about anything. You could be talking about how to make a pizza, right?
And it makes people uncomfortable, and I feel,
right.
In that situation, and I that I don't like either.
And what does it really mean?
What does it really mean? Does that mean that he, she, this is who we are? No, it isn't who we are. And why can't you get to know the individual, and that's how you know who they are?
Exactly.
Not by a label that's been stuck on them by this or that or something else, and even if you've given yourself the label, everybody's not going to know, like you said. How are you going to know?
Well, except we're walking around with a name tag. My pronouns are.
Yeah, which I'm not going to do. I don't know about you, but I'm not doing that.
I did for a little while.
Yeah.
My pronouns are he, she, her.
Right.
He, she, her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly.
She, her. Right.
I find that most people
But
nowadays ask
I don't.
too.
Yeah.
I found that.
And I'm surprised, but I'm not.
In a good way. Like, what is your preferred pronoun?
Yeah,
not in a negative way.
No, 100% that and I'm always taken aback when they do. I'm like, thank you so much.
Me too.
My goodness,
I think that's to me that's being very self-aware.
Sure.
All right, you're being in the moment and you're being present and you're considering another person that you're addressing, and you want to do that correctly, even if you're saying Miss, Mr. You're using their last name or it's the same thing.
All right, so here's a curious conundrum, right? I don't know. I actually don't know. In fact, this would be very interesting for me to find out in the FTM community, in the MTF community.
Right.
Like, you're always trying not to get clocked. Right.
Okay.
For those out there who don't know what being clocked is, it's like being recognized.
Right. As transgender.
As transgender, right. So we're always trying to avoid being clocked. So if you come right out and say to somebody, what pronouns would you like? That's almost akin to saying, I clocked you.
Right, yeah. Actually, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
If they, so I'm just curious, like, is it the same in the transmale community?
My experience, no, I don't think so. All right, I mean, I don't feel that way. I don't feel that I'm nervous about people knowing that I was female and now presenting male. Is that am I answering your question correctly?
Yeah, but but that's you. But
that's me.
Maybe in the larger trans.
Maybe that's true. Okay, I can't. Literally, like I said, I realized in early 2016 that I was transgender. All right, and then so all of this is still I'm processing. All right, so as far as me knowing about what's happening with other female to male, I don't really know. All right.
Actually, I got to be honest. You
I
only
really
started
know.
your transition in 2016?
Yeah.
Because I started just a little bit after you, but I would have never clocked you until you told me.
See, that's interesting. A lot of other people say that to me after if I'm having a conversation with someone and it goes in that direction, and I say, oh, by the way, I'm trans. Just happened a couple of weeks ago when I had that couple here doing my workshop. And
it was a good,
yeah, and especially for the guy, he was totally in shock. He was just like his jaw dropped. He had no idea. It didn't change anything for him. I didn't notice that it changed his attitude towards me or anything, but he did not get it, and that's the reaction that I usually get, is that nobody would know. For me. Unless they know me from before.
One day I'll get there.
All right. Yeah.
After I get my rhinoplasty.
Don't do that. You don't need that.
No. Just I don't believe that I need. Okay, so I believe that a woman carry. It's all about like the carriage.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's about with it, male or female, anyone, any person.
Right. So I've always felt more like a Katharine Hepburn, right? Like a strong, presenting female character who's not afraid of her physical
Exactly.
stature and whatnot, right? But there's some things, man, I wish I could get rid of this nose. It wasn't so bad before, but there's a few markers that I would want to get rid of,
Right.
and
you think that's going to help you look more feminine?
I'm
You think that?
you're
fairly
positive.
Because from somebody who's had a few surgeries in that area, all right, it's better to leave it alone.
You're saying because of the pain?
Because of the pain, because the fact is that once you start messing around in there, it messes you up, all right, physically. I've had sinus problems my entire life, all right, from a very young child, where I was in the hospital when I was 12 years old. The day before Thanksgiving, they were going to have to give me an emergency surgery because my sinus infection's so bad that I was seeing double. I was dizzy. They thought I had a brain tumor. All right, and I've had 7 or 8 surgeries. And
really?
And one just got worse. The first one was the worst one. All right, and after that, and they made me worse. I mean, I don't breathe through my nose, only through my mouth.
I never knew that.
Yeah. It's an incredible thing, and it was the first doctor that screwed me up from when I wasn't even out of high school yet. Forced me to do it, actually.
Wow.
To have the surgery. So anyway, that's a whole nother story.
No, I'm.
But yeah, I wouldn't do. That's just we'll have to have that conversation.
Well, were they really going? I mean, but I'm hoping that for my own sake, right?
Right.
The big thing would be that. In your case, they're really trying to do stuff, right?
Well, I had a septum that was in the shape of an S, so that covered both my nostrils. Before I had the surgery, I have to say in the beginning, before I had the surgery, air never passed through my nose.
Okay, so you're doing like a major construction
They did
job.
a major thing. My nose became a half an inch smaller than it was.
Let's see, this is like
okay, but it screwed me up. It screws up. That septum is there for a reason, all right? And once you start messing around with it up there, it causes you all kinds of other issues. But that's also with many other things. You do something to fix something, and it messes something else.
Oh. Mama doesn't quite have
I think your face
surgery,
is beautiful.
A boyfriend yet that does these surgeries.
Yeah, well, that's what you need.
I know.
Because they're very expensive.
But they're very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Just when I see it, I'm like, oh, when I see the schnoz. I'm making face masks right now, and I'm using I'm testing them on my face, and I'm concerned that I'm making the thing too long because my nose is so long.
No, but me personally, I think that it gives character to your face, and it doesn't. I think you're not going to see the change being the thing that you think it's going to be. That's what I think. Did that make any sense? I don't think you're going to end up being that happy with it.
My goal in it,
because you're not talking about any kind of constructive surgery for your health. You're talking totally cosmetic.
Totally cosmetic. My fear is that when somebody else is looking at when anybody's looking at anybody else, right? There are certain things about anyone's physique or presentation that are gender markers,
right? Okay.
Right? And I think instinctively, and we were talking about getting clocked, right? So I think one of the things that clocks me, that's a giveaway,
is that feature.
Is that feature?
And I think you're 100% wrong. Okay, I'm I'm a visual person. All right.
So I'm not self-conscious by any means, right?
That's good.
I just if I could get rid of things, I would take a little off of here, and I would cut this baby back, and that's it. If that's possible, do you know?
I know. Well, you're not the first male to female that told me the thing about the jaw.
Yeah, that's
in fact this project that he did years ago, which was fantastic, with Cyndi Lauper's True Color residence in Harlem, which was literally the first one of its kind. All right, helping transgender, gay and lesbian youth find a place to live. Yes, thank you, Cyndi Lauper. Anyway, this was this project where we got the the artist got paired up with one of the residents, okay, and this girl, that was her biggest thing, was she wanted her jaw.
Yeah.
She wanted her jaw done. You can actually see that piece on my Instagram page and my website.
I'll go take a look at it.
All right, you got to take a look at it. Angela's Crest, that's the name of it. All right, but she had that was her biggest thing, was the jaw.
It's see, I don't feel like the width. I don't feel any, outside of just like cutting this baby back a little bit, and taking this, because I think that's a definite giveaway.
I don't think so. I really don't. But that's just me. Again, I don't know. I don't think that's going to make you present any.
All right, then how about this? Is who else in classic visual facial history has the Wicked Witch of the Wicked Witch of the West? She's got the big.
So she's still yeah. She's still a woman though.
Sure.
She's still a woman.
But
what about Barbara Streisand? She's freaking. Look at that. She's got her nose is twice the size.
But they make fun of her for it.
So what? And it hurt her. Really. They wanted her. They told her to do the operation that I had when I was young, and thank God she was smart enough, or whoever was, advising her
to say
no, because she wouldn't have been able to. She wouldn't have sang the same.
Right.
It changes your whole thing. It changes everything.
Mom can't quite sing like Barbara Streisand.
I know. Well, who can? Who can? All right, but literally, I mean, she's got a very similar shape nose to yours, and it's even bigger than.
This is, and she's cross-eyed.
Okay.
But she's an enormous talent.
Okay, but that's.
And she also captured, I think, and she was the product of an era. She was like spearheaded. She helped define that era. That look.
You're right about that.
It's Barbara Streisand, and then you could definitely. I was gonna say Sarah Michelle Gellar, but that's wrong. Sex and the City.
Jessica Parker.
Jessica Parker.
Right. She's also got another large nose.
She's
okay. She's got a large nose.
We love Sex and the City, but I'm definitely more of a Charlotte.
Yeah.
Fan.
But I don't know. I mean, maybe for me, okay, this whole clocking thing, it's never been a thing for me. All right, I don't think, but how much? I mean, for me, starting to take testosterone was when I really started to notice myself in the mirror and recognize myself. All right, where not that I had a round face, but everything went straight.
Yeah.
All right, and on my face, and then again on my body, my hips. I lost my butt. I lost my hips. Yeah, I'm not so upset about it. So I mean, have you seen that change since taking estrogen?
Oh yeah. Oh, I definitely see
It's the same thing.
In reverse.
Right.
I'm finally getting a little bit of an ass. My the hips. There's some extra meat that's coming on that.
Yeah.
we don't want, but it's just definitely things are filling up in the
they get.
Right,
that's what I mean. They
way,
get it gets softer in a sense, right?
Yeah, I think the hormones helped. I think. Okay, so before I actually started taking. Yeah, I will tell you that the hormones help a lot, and just physically feeling
Absolutely
the change, even without like seeing it in the mirror. It's for me, it's more how do I internally feel walking across the room. Does everything feel like it's supposed to be shaking right? Right. Like I don't feel bony anymore, right?
I have that same feeling in the opposite.
Right. You feel solid.
I feel solid. I feel I feel lighter. I mean,
really?
Absolutely. I lost a lot of weight because of it too.
Well, this I've heard.
Absolutely. And then of course I literally physically lost the weight of my breasts.
Oh yeah.
All right. And then that was for me. I mean.
But did you change the muscle mass?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I was always a strong person, always.
Right.
So I had a very high testosterone level to begin with. All right. So then when I started taking testosterone, it just made it more. And I mean, it's unbelievable. I was always strong, but now I'm like superhero strong. Yeah, I mean, I'm even shocked at it myself.
I can attest that Jake is mad strong.
Yeah, I am. And people around me are like, I feel like Bam Bam. We're really going to put our age now.
Yeah.
You know Bam Bam from the Flintstones. You know the kid. He was so strong and he used to pick everybody up. You know, you just come along and pick. Some people are looking at me like that, like, holy shit. Excuse me. That you know that I'm so strong that I can pick things up.
No,
these things. But I mean, for me, you know, I know you want that estrogen, but I hated it. It was the worst.
You know, when I'm in, like, when I dig out like my 3 remaining pieces of like boy clothes, right? They feel so. First of all, they feel awkward, and they feel heavy. So, and I feel heavier.
Yeah, but that makes sense. You feel heavier. You feel lighter now. And I'm saying I feel lighter now.
Like I feel like I could, like I scamper now. Like I feel that that first off the clothes fits so. Like I can't believe.
Plus you're comfortable in the clothes.
Yeah.
Plus you're comfortable in the clothes, which is the same thing for me on the in the reverse. Is that I'm comfortable, and I've always been comfortable in men's clothes. All right, always. And the other thing that we were talking about being clocked was that I've always been being called sir my entire life.
Okay.
My entire life. So for whatever reason, you know, my true self was always coming out that way. So for me to be clocked, I always was like that. You know what I mean? I didn't change from being feminine to masculine. I was always very, and this is against society's definition of masculinity, right? All right, you know, who knows? You know, that's what we've been taught.
Do you think that it was your presentation, or was it physical looks, or was it attitude?
Both.
And
but when I had long hair and makeup and lipstick and my cleavage sticking out, all right, and I would get into a cab and say my address, and the cab driver would say, "Yes, sir." I mean, what is that? I mean, I've literally long hair, makeup, lipstick, breasts.
You see,
so it was the attitude. Obviously, was the attitude.
And do you think that they were trying to figure it out before or after you spoke, or?
I think
because your voice,
my voice is deep.
You have such.
And it was like that before, but it went down 2 clicks.
Easy, right?
Yeah. 2 clicks, which I like. And did yours get higher? Do you feel like your voice is higher?
I think I am way too far along. I think Mama smokes too much coffee, too many.
But you don't have a masculine voice, in my opinion.
Well, you know, I was having this conversation with somebody else just recently. How about it's not about like where you pitch. It's not about where like.
No, it's the way you do it. It's the way you let it out.
Exactly. It's your patterns,
your delivery, the way you know your movements, which I think is a lot of what we're saying. You know how we feel so much better in our correct presentation of ourselves. I think that also is what makes us feel lighter, and that the clothes feel nicer, and because finally
we're not fighting upstream. We're not swimming upstream.
Finally, we're in the bodies that we should be in. All right, and that makes like all the difference. I mean, that's why I think I don't want to get back in the conversation about the minoplasty, but that's why I think you're great, because you got it. I mean, you're very feminine. You're very attractive. You have the most beautiful eyes. I don't know if you can see it, but folks, but her eyes are beautiful. And then not to mention,
if you can get up from the back,
right? Well, hey, you join the club. I mean, gravity is not our friend. This is who we are too. Our age and what we've been through is who we are.
That's actually something that I enjoy about being at this age. Like, of course, like if we wanted to transition, it would have been so much more fun if we transitioned like in our 20s, because right, like who doesn't want to be like a 29-year-old? Well, I am a 29-year-old girl, but.
It's true. I saw her license. No, but I feel like an adolescent boy with.
No, I mean I feel young. I feel young, but there's a certain reality, right, to the way we are.
But think about it. We get to do this in the beginning. Start this whole thing with the experience that we've gained.
Oh, sure.
through life, I mean, that's...
I think it gives me an interesting perspective on
Absolutely.
who I wanted to be, because, again, this was some advice I was giving to somebody else was, like, hey, it's not about running around and saying, "Ooh, I'm a girl," right? It's you change your thought patterns, and you get the opportunity to define who you are. So I told this person, says, go pick a bunch of look at all the iconic movie actors that are out there. For me, it was Hepburn, Audrey Hepburn, Liz Taylor, whatnot. Go, Sid Charisse. What's that? I'm dating myself. Go watch the movies and see if you can understand what makes them feminine. And that person, like, oh my goodness.
But didn't you always have these feelings of being feminine and that tendency to...
yes.
You know, mirror or, you know, have these...
I was
movements and motions.
My whole life. Well, I was going to be a professional dancer when I was younger, right? Like, and
she has nice legs too. You didn't see that.
Starting with, you know, I don't remember how young I was. I was like 8 or 9 years old, following my sister to dance class, to tap class, and I joined in, and like, I was going to be a professional dancer until I blew up my knees in my early 20s. But I was always, from a young age, like 10, 11 years old, I was stealing mom's clothes, and I was wearing female undergarments under my regular clothes to school. I mean, I even remember, like, in the 3rd grade, right? And so, yes, so, like, the physical kinesthesiology for being feminine, I already had that. It was easy.
And for me, I didn't even know.
I think
I had no clue. I mean, I was always attracted to women. I was always kissing the girls. I was always, from a young age. You know.
I think being trans, that women who, cisborn women who eventually gravitate towards being transmale, there's a natural physical squareness about them before they ever make the transition.
Right.
I think it because everyone that I've met has been like straight up like, I would not want to wrestle you, like, do Greco-Roman style. You would take me out. I could see it.
Yeah. I mean, it was, and for me, I mean, I fantasized about being male when I was a teenager because I was in love with a girl, and she wouldn't be with me because we were both women. And I fantasized about being a man, you know, like staging my death and coming back as a man. Yeah. And nobody would know, whatever. But I thought I was feeling those feelings because I was in love with her, and that was the only way I was going to be able to be with her.
You know, I've had those fantasies too, and I did not remember it literally until you just told me.
But that was a big thing for me.
Really?
Yeah, but I was in love. I mean, this was my first love.
How old were you again?
15.
Oh my goodness. Oh, hormones.
Yeah. Okay, I was in love with this girl, you know. And back then, again, you know, I'm going to be 59. It wasn't cool to be gay, right? We weren't there yet. All right, you know, it was, and not that I was afraid of it or any that my parents were going to shun me or none of that. All right,
It wasn't an option.
It wasn't exactly.
It wasn't on the table.
Yeah, there was no discussion about, well, and I even, again, I thought that my fantasies were based on the fact that I was in love with her.
Right.
I didn't think it was across the board.
Was she your first love?
Yes. My first love.
So
crashed hard. I mean,
had you been with a girl before?
I had been with women long before I was ever with men.
No, but with this specific girl.
This specific girl, yes.
So you were with women before her?
No. She was the first.
She was the first?
Yeah, she was.
So curious.
I was with little girls that's playing house, and I was always the daddy. And not kiss making out, you know, you're 9, 10. A little peck on the, you know, whatever, you know, playing house.
Which is actually
who's mommy, who's daddy.
Not uncommon.
No, which is not, and not, it's not uncommon. It's totally normal, you know. Again, I wouldn't have been able to point to that and say, well, I'm trans because of that. You know, I mean, I've always been attracted to women, but I also slept with men. All right, so I mean, as far as being, you know, fluid in that way, of course, with women, I mean, that's my preference, and I'm invested with women. With men, it was let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they all wanted to marry me, because, you know, I wasn't the cuddly, call me tomorrow, you know, you got to take me at me. And I used to go to their house so that I could leave. You know, I mean, it was, for me, you know, it was, that's why they was like, they were, you know, having sex with their best friend. So, yeah, it was, for me, it was very, you know, and then I was always sleeping with women at the same time. So, even though I knew that women were my preference, all right, you know, especially when you're younger, you do.
Oh, it doesn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter.
You're getting your pipes cleaned.
Plus, I'm also and always have been attracted to the person.
Right.
His mind.
Right.
And who they are.
The most important part.
And their physical appearance, you know, didn't matter. You know, I'm sure there was people that I dated, men and women that I dated, that people would have said, oh, well, they're not very attractive or whatever, but that didn't matter to me. It was about them. What's their personality? Who are they? I mean, I don't know if you...
No, that's the most important thing, of course.
Of course, right.
But, I mean, it helps that they look nice or attractive.
Yes, of course. Well, that
not.
they took a shower at least, or they...
Clean.
You know, yeah, clean.
Note for all you dating people, especially the boys, be clean.
Yes, be clean. Absolutely, absolutely.
Girls are usually pretty clean.
Yes.
No, it's like I actually remember my first gay experience. Now it's funny because like I'd spent my whole life really on the, you know, we talk about like being gay was really not on the table.
Yeah, that was
right?
not, you weren't talking about it at lunch.
Or it wasn't in the news.
It wasn't an conversation.
When we came of age in the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's not how that wasn't happening.
Yeah. It existed, but it was not.
Yeah, it was down on the down low. I mean, there was no, you know, there weren't a lot of, especially I grew up in suburbia New Jersey.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, north of Boston.
Yeah, people weren't running. You know, two women weren't running around holding hands and kissing, and two men. I mean, that wasn't happening.
But the you know, the first gay experience I had. Well, okay. So I'll get back to that first gay experience. To explain to the viewing audience, when it's a man, when you are identifying as a man and you are with a man, then that's gay. But now that I am trans woman, if I'm with a man, that's straight sex.
Right. But I still identify as gay. I do not identify as straight. I mean, I always slept with, I mean, women are my preference.
Really?
Absolutely. I do not
you
identify
feel
as
gay
straight.
more
yeah.
than...
Well, not gay, not gay in the sense that word means that I would be dating men. I mean that, you know, I don't know if we're going to get this deep into it, but, you know, I'm done transitioning in reference to any surgery. All right, yeah. I've only had my breast removed, and the rest that I'm working with, I'm very happy with.
Okay.
So to say, you know, I'm not going to get into all the different labels, but I don't. Yes, I.
But you identify as male.
Yeah, as male.
I identify
as male. Yes, but I still wouldn't say that I'm 100% man. I can't say that with honesty. Because
now this gets into a curious discussion.
Yeah. It is, and it's still a little something thing that's still percolating on me. Yeah. Because I wouldn't say that I was straight. I don't know why I wouldn't.
You see, now I'm totally attracted to like straight men.
See, I like straight women too, but you know, I love women. Okay, it's not, you know.
Yeah, which is sad for me because most of the gay men are like just perfect.
Right.
They're gorgeous, clean.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
But you're all a little bit too self-centered.
Right. Oh, yes. Oh, the boys like themselves a lot. So yeah, I don't know how to define that. I'm still working on that whole thing about.
See, I identify. I still feel straight.
See, I never felt straight. I never did.
Do you think that's because?
Never.
Interesting. That's a very interesting, because there's so many permutations in the spectrum, right?
Oh my God, that's another reason why I think it's ridiculous to keep labeling everything.
Maybe you're right.
Why can't we meet someone and learn to know this person, and anything about sex or what you're going to do sexually with an individual is between those two people, all right, exclusively. It has nothing to do with the guy sitting at the table next to you and whether he knows that you're sleeping with men or women or whatever, or me. It's a personal thing, all right. So why I don't want I don't want the labels at all. Okay, in my opinion, and I'm talking about across the boards everywhere. I think that our society is so hung up on labels, and now the gay community, the LGBTQ community, is turning into the same situation.
Sure, we're running out of letters in the alphabet.
It's going to be the whole alphabet by the end, and the flags, and there's a million different flags.
So,
I don't know. It deserves further dissection.
There's no right answer on this whatsoever, right? And there's no, and your viewpoint is 100% valid.
Because if I was with a straight woman who didn't, let's just say I went out, we were dating, and she fully believes that I'm a man, all right, and now it's time for us to have sex. Am I going to be a traditional male that she would be used, understand and know?
That's curious. But, okay, so...
I mean, that's where I
go.
So
let's say you are 99% male throughout your entire interactions with this woman, right?
Exactly.
You're the aggressor, so to speak, right? You're
and that's
picking up the check.
Yeah, well, all of that. All that traditional stuff is all me.
Except when you get down there, you're using slightly different techniques.
Yes, I'm using yes, and I'm not going to have.
Does that last little bit make you less male?
It doesn't in my mind. Or in, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't in my mind, but it does change. It doesn't change it for me. You follow? But it might change it for her. That's where I go with it. It's not about me. I'm very comfortable with having what I have the way I am now, perfectly. All right, and that's why I, starting to date or getting into that situation, I would veer towards more lesbian women. Because for me, I think that's an easier hurdle.
Well, certainly, because they're not going to miss the equipment.
To jump, right.
Or
you can, there's other things that you can, put on, and you're there. But I'm not sure women our age, straight women at our age, I don't know. I don't know how easily they would accept the whole scenario. But I don't know.
For trans women, to find, I swear to you, 95% of the queries we get, the inquiries are like, "Yo, I'm a straight male, but are you free tonight?"
Yeah. But that's their denial. That has nothing to do with you. Really, you know what I mean?
No, of course.
It doesn't have anything to do with you.
I feel the
That's
same
their
way.
issue.
I was like, honey, stop lying to yourself.
Yeah. You're
but
in
I
denial,
don't think that
man.
necessarily makes them gay. Just because the partner has or doesn't have.
But you're making my point. Why do we have to have any of the labels at all? Because does that make him gay? No. Does it make, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't. It's a very, I think the problem is everybody trying, and we do it in every area. It has nothing to do with just being transgender or sexual. It's right. It's all about how do we define it.
Right.
All right.
Good apple, bad apple.
Right. Exactly. Fat, skinny, hard, soft. You know what I mean? It's all about the way, and for some reason, we've lost the ability, which we have in us when we're born, all right, to accept. All right. Why do you think children play without They don't say, "Oh, you're black, you're yellow, you're green,
Right,
you have
they don't.
slanted eyes, you have a
don't care. They're
penis,
like, "Oh,
you have
you're
breasts."
fun.
Yeah, I'm playing with you. We have fun. That's the innocence that we're all born with. All right, and that's the understanding that we're also all born with. That this is another person like me, another being. It doesn't matter, So that's where I go with that whole thing. So does that make him gay? In the definitions of gay, it does.
Sure.
He might not believe it.
Well, gay. Okay, so, well, no, maybe it's like this. Maybe that's a kudos to me, right? Because I present as female in every other way except for one, like, little
There you go.
piece of equipment. So he can accept me as being feminine, as being female. So he keeps his straight status.
That's exactly. You just explained it perfectly. All right, you just explained it perfectly. But if he was really okay with himself, who he really is, it wouldn't make any difference, and it wouldn't. He wouldn't have to explain. Or come up with, well, I'm really not gay, but you don't have to. All of these things, There's so much that I've learned over these years, and part of it is that in 98% of the time we are trying to defend ourselves. Against what? We're trying to define and defend. If we don't have any of these labels, we don't have to defend them.
Do you think we need them in some way?
When you're in this, and not even then, when you're in a situation where you're ready to have your relationship moves to a different level.
Well, okay, that's in a personal,
Right,
like one-on-one, right?
Right.
But how about in the sense of, because, okay, here's a good one, right? Because the way I feel is that gay issues are different than trans issues.
Yes, I know what you mean, and I can see what you're saying about that. I think as individuals,
queer culture is different than trans culture, because basically I'm just trying to slip under the radar. I'm just trying to live my life as a woman, and if I don't need to, or I don't want to, or if I don't choose to fight for a particular cause on my agenda, then I don't have to. But
right.
I'm actually trying to adopt a gender role, a specified gender role.
Okay.
Versus queer, which is actively pursuing queer is different than gay, but let's say
Right.
gay. Let's use gay. Gay is non-traditional. Is pursuing a non-traditional role.
Okay, but again, it comes back to you're really again coming back to each individual's personal, what they want.
Well, but it helps for us to be able to organize and say, hey, let me look for other people who are of similar mindset to discuss or to work on a particular cause. In the same way,
No, but
I'm trying to think like something politically that's not.
Yeah,
charged.
but that's again all of us again putting each other in a group to say that this group is this, and this group is this, and this group is this. Maybe I talk about it too abstractly.
No. But
I think.
Well, let's say unions, right? Let's pick unions. And I'm not necessarily arguing.
Right.
I'm just.
No, I know. I know you're not.
I'm
and these again, like we were saying, these are all things that are
percolating.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
who knows?
I think you're right when it gets down to the granular personal level, that the use of labels is not requisite, right? Because it doesn't really matter. But but in a more macroscopic view, us, look at a union, right? It's like the difference between being in the plumbers union versus the electricians union. The plumbers union has certain things that they're fighting for.
Right.
Electricians union has certain things that they're fighting for. That may be similar, but they're probably a little bit different for each other one. And so it helps to say, hey, I am a plumber member of this team. Hey, I'm an electrician member of this team. Can we collectively work for the collective good of our own, group?
Okay, but you're putting on a you're putting this whole conversation in a category that is reference to a career or
well, only
something like that.
I only picked union because that was the only thing I could think of that was like not necessarily politicized. Like if I said like Democrat or Republican, that's like right.
Okay, but why can't you? Why does it have to be that you know? Let's just say there's a person that has a lot of different ideas about what they want to fight for.
Sure.
All right, and maybe they have nothing. Maybe they don't know from trans from Adam.
Right.
And the cause itself, or whatever that is, has put this all of you together. So what does it matter if this guy or woman doesn't have any idea what trans is?
Okay, so in business, right, or at least in the business models that I have been in, when leading like large groups of people,
Right.
And I've been blessed, so blessed in my life, to have been in a position where I've, led large groups of people. I found that the best way to get everybody motivated, but more on the same page, is to clearly define an issue or a concept.
I think you're straying away from the.
No, because it's by defining. I want to. There's a personal thing, right? That we all have of wanting to connect with other people.
Everybody wants to be accepted.
Yeah, and I think at that level, right, one-on-one, granular, that we can easily drop. And I think we see this in literature all the time. The war, the two nations are fighting, but the soldiers on the battlefield can take a break from killing each other and still be friends.
Right. Okay.
So I think that the all right. So I will draw back from that because I could talk for a while on that subject. But so the concept of putting a label on something helps maybe to bring the appropriate thought process to an interaction. Because it's like, for example, it's very interesting to me that you said that you felt gay but you also feel male.
Yes,
but
I just don't identify with, and I don't identify with the straight.
You don't identify being straight,
right? Yeah, and with that whole that community of people. I mean, not that I'm dissing straight people. That's not what I mean.
No.
So don't anybody get offended. I don't mean that.
No, but I fully understand. But see, now to me, that tells me, that actually informs me of a differential in the way in which you look at personal relationships, or at least with you and
right,
of your mental makeup.
And what does that tell you?
That so that tells me that you identify as male, but you're not looking for well, I think, and I could be wrong because it could change with the next person, right?
It always does.
But at least in your current thoughts, that the typical gender role, like you don't feel necessarily that you need to adopt the traditional gender roles.
Well,
maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. I think I just fall into the traditional male role, because that's what I'm comfortable with. All right, but again, there's so many, and plus there's so many. I mean, this is a very, very what's the word I want to use? It's a topic that's got a lot of layers.
Oh, of course.
All right. I mean, you really, and again, we're just shooting the breeze here and trying to, and I don't even know if I would eventually have a definition of what I'm saying at all. I don't know.
Could change in a month.
It could change, yeah. But do I want, if I'm first of all, I don't even want to care about what somebody else thinks about me walking into a place with a woman, whether we're straight or gay or those things.
I will tell you, nobody will clock you.
Enter my mind, and even if they did, I don't think they, because even when I was presenting female, it didn't enter my mind.
Let me ask you. I'm sure they're going to give you more dirty looks if you walk into Henrietta Hudson nowadays.
Oh, nowadays they would kill. Are you kidding? They would kill me. They didn't like me back then. Okay, they didn't like me.
They didn't like me either, which I don't understand.
Well, we're not gonna. I don't want to diss any certain group, but
that's because I can dance better than all you
the ladies don't like to. They like to mix with only the other ladies that like ladies, and that again is what was a problem for me. That's why I never identified with the lesbian, label. I never identified with that. All right,
interesting.
Ever. All right, I love women, and it's not a judgment, my observation, being in that group, is that I love women. Okay, not because I hate men.
Well, no, right.
Because I love women. But I've met many in that particular group that they're with women because they hate men. That's a whole different thing.
Yes.
That's two different books.
And that really exists.
And it exists.
No. I know that it really exists.
And I just never understood that. Okay? But, gender, for me, maybe the reason I want to get rid of all the labels is that gender, it's working for me now that I'm in the correct physical appearance. Okay? But I was rejected by men growing up. My own father rejected me because I wasn't a boy. All right? Then with cousins and groups of people, work, whatever, I felt like I was supposed to be in that male group, but I was shunned. All right? And women, okay, I didn't fit in that group. All right? I wanted to have sex with women. All right? I wanted to have that type of relationship, but I didn't identify with putting makeup and lipstick and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? I didn't at all. So for me, these gender labels never worked. All right? I was shunned at any point. Right. We were going to talk about little stories, but when I first started having the physical changes from testosterone, all right, before I even had my breasts removed, all right, I was getting cruised by gay men constantly.
Really?
No women. All right, I'm waiting for the women to come at me. And gay men, which I took as the hugest compliment because gay men are very picky. They're always good looking.
Yes.
Well dressed. All right. A couple of doctors were coming after me. All right.
Is that their number?
So that's right. So and I was shocked. I really was. I was shocked over the reaction that I was getting from gay men.
That's amazing.
All right. Unbelievable. Me too. It totally shocked me. I was waiting for the women to come running, and it was always the gay men.
You know what? You get what you can.
You get what you can. Exactly. So, I don't know where I was going with this story, but...
That's a great story.
Yeah, I have no idea where it was, but I had a point, but I lost it. Sorry, folks.
It's all right.
Sorry, my dear.
No. It's quite okay.
Sometimes
that whole thing about being chased by gay men is
by gay
amazing.
men, and it was just funny. That was the other thing. And also, then, as things started to change more, I was getting some facial hair, and then the breasts were removed. And now I just lost it. I'm getting old.
Well, we've also been talking straight for oh my God, an hour.
Exactly.
So
we're going to do it next week?
Yeah.
We're going to come back next week?
Oh, we barely touched anything.
I know, because there's a lot to talk about.
There's which is great news. Actually, I don't know how you felt, but I actually felt that this flew by.
I felt like it was 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I felt like we barely.
But you and I
dug into any subject.
We have a lot.
I think there's a lot to talk about there.
Yeah,
good. I thought I didn't know how hard it was going to be to fill up 1 hour straight up of talking.
It wasn't hard at all.
Without a script or even where we were going to.
Well,
just so you all know, we all try to sit down for about an hour. Right. What do you want to talk about? Today's news.
Well, yeah. Well, we hope that you come back.
Yeah.
Right?
So we want to thank you all for showing up, and we'll see you the next time next week. next Tuesday on the FtMtF show, maybe going to be rebranded the FtMtF Fireside Chats with Jake and Nikki.
Right. And let us know what you want to talk about.
Please.
If you can.
Yes, please let us know what you want to hear about. Any of y'all out there in trans land. And
or in straight land or in
anywhere.
land.
And
in the land of trying to learn something.
And sponsors, please don't hesitate to reach out. All right. Bye.
Bye. That wasn't hard at all.
No, it was not. That was easy.